everybody's talking Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. What do you do next? Where do you go from here? Well, Adam Schefter had something to say. He dove into it a little bit. I'll toss it to you here. Hit us with a little Adam Schefter advice to the Miami Dolphins, if you would.
Yeah, you mentioned he was on McAfee's show, which he does every week. He was theorizing that the Miami Dolphins should reach out to gauge the Steelers' interest in trading Russell Wilson because they're 1-2 and they have some injury concerns regarding Tua Tagovailoa. The exact quote from Schefter was, quote, "I would call Pittsburgh and I would say, what would you want for Russell Wilson?" Now, of course, Schefter made it clear that he's not reporting there is interest, just stating a fact that that should be an option on the table. What do you think about Schefter now jumping on the train of Russ potentially traded to Miami or should be en route to Miami?
So Schefter's an interesting one, okay? Because Schefter knows everything. So if it's Colin Cowherd, if it's, I don't know, anybody on the Pat McAfee show outside of Adam Schefter, if it's anybody, if it's any random person talking, hey, the Miami Dolphins should go get Russell Wilson. My buddy, I got a text the other day. It was 7:30 in the morning. The Dolphins to Russell Wilson to the Dolphins real? I laughed. No, it's not. Anybody else who says that except for Adam Schefter and maybe Ian Rappaport knows more than everybody, which means that they know where Russell Wilson is health-wise, and they know that, well, maybe he could play some football right now. So my mind went one of two ways immediately. One, maybe Russ is good enough to play for the Miami Dolphins, so maybe that means he's good enough to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers, which is a whole topic of conversation within itself. And also, I mean, if he's saying that, there's got to be something there. You know, there's got to be, I'm not saying that there is. I'm not saying that there have been any conversations, but when Schefter says something, you listen. Because when Schefter says something, typically it's got a backbone. Maybe these legs are there. I'm not saying Russ wants to go to Miami. I'm not saying the Steelers are willing to trade Russ to Miami. I've made it very clear on this show. I don't think that they are willing to trade Russ to Miami. What I'm saying is maybe Russell Wilson wants to play some football. Maybe he's healthy enough to play some football. And maybe the Miami Dolphins really are thinking about some trades. And maybe they're thinking about some trades with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
With all that said, I do have a question. I want to know, to you, is it more likely that Russ ends up being traded to the Miami Dolphins, or is it more likely that he actually starts a game for the Steelers this year?
Traded to the Miami Dolphins or starts a game for the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2024. Maybe forever. Maybe starts a game for the Pittsburgh Steelers ever in his entire career. Maybe starts another game ever in his entire career, maybe. What's more likely? As crazy as this sounds, okay, I think what's more likely is that Russell Wilson gets traded to the Dolphins. Not because I think he's going to, but simply because I believe that his time in Pittsburgh has come to an end as a starter. I just think Justin looks too good. I think the Steelers have some pushback, and they really do want to start Russ. Like, they really want to start Russ. But just like the conversation we had yesterday, they're finding themselves in a situation where they're going to lose not just the locker room, but probably the owner and everybody else, because the fan base, at least half of the fan base, is going to be pissed. It's just not going to work out well unless there's a reason to start Russell Wilson. There's a reason to trade him to the Dolphins, and I don't know what one creates a sense of urgency first. The trade to Miami because Miami is trying desperately not to lose this season, or Justin Fields starts to lose. The record, the schedule, the upcoming opponents does not indicate to me that Justin Fields is about to lose this starting job for Russell Wilson to take. On the other side of that, the Miami Dolphins are losing by the day. They were in the bottom half of the on SI power rankings, which I fill those things out every week, and I won't lie to you, I guess on half of them. But the rest of the team, they thought they're garbage. So maybe they're losing quick. I don't know. Do you feel differently? I imagine you do. Do you feel differently?
Yeah, I just don't see, even if Russell Wilson is healthy enough to play, I don't see the Pittsburgh Steelers pulling the trigger on that because of what we saw last year and because of how we saw them attack the quarterback position in the offseason. They wanted to have multiple options. They have multiple options. Just because the need has arisen for a different team within your conference, by the way, that could
Yes.
potentially be a playoff opponent,
True.
that doesn't mean that you should actually go out and trade them. I think that you need a contingency plan in the NFL. Not that I expect anything to happen, but also we saw what happened last year. You need a contingency plan. Allen is okay. I mean, Kyle Allen is okay, but he's not Russell Wilson. You've said on multiple occasions, if you have Russ as a backup, it's one of the best backup plans, one of the best contingency plans in the NFL. Why would you trade that away unless the offer is blowing you away? But I don't think Miami is going to give you an offer that you can't refuse. So
Yeah.
again, I don't think it happens because I think the Steelers are too set and focused on making sure they have two capable quarterbacks on their organization and on the roster.
My guys, you ever lift just a little too hard and forget to apply that daily deodorant only to get hit by a truckload of BO later in the day? Well, does that 3-in-1 shampoo ever leave you needing a second shower? Here we go. From the founders of Lumi, Mando whole body deodorant is helping men conquer their odor in a new way. Formulated with mandelic acid, Mando has long-lasting 72-hour odor control that actually stops odor before it starts. And the best part is you can put Mando everywhere. Pits, packages, feet, skin folds, backs of knees, everywhere. To top it off, Mando's cologne quality scents are created with men in mind. And well, I'll give you a pro tip. Try their best-selling scent, Bourbon Leather. It's an absolute game changer. I will tell you that I got the package. My wife immediately goes, I could smell that box from over here. And I won't lie to you. I opened it up. I haven't turned back since. I only use Mando from here on out. Let me tell you about the Mando starter pack. It's the perfect thing for new customers. It comes with a solid stick of deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. Luckily, I have a discount code to help you get hooked up on your favorite smelling body deodorant on the market. New customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Just use the code ALLSTEELERS at shopmando.com. That's SHOPMANDO.com. It's time to smell better naked. Your partner will thank you. Yeah, look it. Well, I've said that. I've made that argument 100 times. 100 times. And you make a really good point with you're trading with the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins are a team the Steelers could meet in the playoffs. I mean, if the Steelers thought Russell Wilson could lead the Steelers to the Super Bowl, they probably believe that Russell Wilson could lead the Miami Dolphins to the Super Bowl, which is something that they're not going to. Let me ask this. I'll turn the page on you. I'll flip it up a little bit. Russell Wilson starts a game for the Pittsburgh Steelers. What's more likely? Russell Wilson starts a game for the Pittsburgh Steelers before he starts a game for another team.
I mean, it's hard because Mike Tomlin seems to have an affinity for Russell Wilson, and he's had that affinity all summer long. But at the same time, I agree with you in the fact that I don't see Justin Fields faltering. And I think he's built up enough to this point where he's going to be given some leeway. He's gained a little bit of rope here. And I just don't see him giving that up, especially with how good the defense is. I think they're going to always keep him in games. And it feels like Justin Fields has matured to a point. Again, it's only been 3 weeks of NFL live action, but it feels like he's matured to a point to where he knows what he needs to do. And he's in a good situation to where he's not going to be forced to go back and revert back to what he was in Chicago. So I would say it's more likely, as weird as it sounds, because it does sound weird thinking about it and coming out of my mouth, but I think it's more likely he starts for somebody else at some point. I just don't think it's that trade.
I agree. I wouldn't say it's the trade, but I do think I agree it's somebody else. I think he starts for somebody else at some point. I don't know who it's going to be. It could be, there are going to be teams out there. The Carolina Panthers are going to need a quarterback, although they'll probably draft another one first overall, even though that's ridiculous. You clearly don't have a team for a quarterback, but we're going to draft another quarterback. The Colts might be looking for the Raiders are going to be looking for a quarterback. Russell Wilson and the Raiders makes a lot of sense. A lot of sense. There's going, the Jacksonville Jaguars might be looking for a team too, because they might just clean house and say, hey, Lawrence, I get it, Trev. We just paid you a boatload of money, but we're going to ship you off because there's going to be teams that need a quarterback. I don't know, but I agree with you. I do think it's more likely he starts for another team before he starts for the Pittsburgh Steelers. As for Miami Dolphins trade, we'll top this conversation off here. What does it take for the Steelers to make that move?
I mean, like I said, they seem like they're very content to have two starting quality quarterbacks in their organization.
I
You
agree.
offer a second-round pick, though, then I
You
start
think
to
they
listen.
get a second?
I don't
Okay,
think they do because
give me
I don't think
what
they
does it
get to that
take,
point.
and then what's the realistic offer?
Okay, what does it take? A second-round pick, because I am not getting rid of a quarterback, a starting quality quarterback, no matter what you think of Russ. He is at bare minimum that. I'm not getting rid of that whenever I value having two of those for anything less than a second. Realistically, there's probably a fifth-round pick that ends up being in the discussion. Like it starts at a fifth.
Okay. I mean, I would say a second probably does get it done. It'd be hard. I mean, Omar would have to go to Mike and just be like, hey, look it, dude. I get it.
It's
You
a
want to have a
second.
nice, it's a second round pick. Like we need a wide receiver, an offensive lineman. We need an entire defense pretty much in a year from now. We don't have any running backs under contract except for the 34-year-old. We could probably use a second round pick. Second round pick probably does get it done. Realistic. You might be right with a fifth. I think a team would probably say lower than that. They'd probably be like, yeah, we'll give you a sixth. I think Miami'd offer him a fourth, but I don't think they'd get any crazier than that. A third? Would you meet in the middle? Go third?
No.
Okay.
I'm steadfast and staunch on this, that I would say, listen, if you want to overpay, you're going to overpay. Second round pick or bust. Like, I'll hang up the phone.
Okay. I like it. I like a second round pick. I don't think it happens. I think Miami's nuts if they gave up a second round pick for a quarterback that is injured, although Adam Schefter is kind of hinting that maybe he's not that injured, and a team that, doesn't want to get rid of their second round pick and has to play them. I'll toss this little theory at you before we head to a break here.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think, because we talked yesterday about the conspiracy theory of Mike Tomlin wanting Russell Wilson to play still, do you think that they're waiting for the Cowboys game? That is why they did not announce the offense in the home opener against the Chargers, even though they were introducing a new quarterback? Do you think it was maybe to keep Russ as a guy who they want to keep high spirits for and say, hey, we won't do that. We won't give you the reaction of the crowd to Justin? Or do you think they really think maybe there's a shot? The Cowboys game, that makes a lot of sense.
I think that while Russell Wilson has obviously had a lot of media scrutiny for being a diva, I don't think that they would actually need to pander to that level to Russell Wilson.
They do, though. They do. Let's not act like they have not in the past. Let's not act like they have not it's week 4. They will not name a starting quarterback. Okay? They won't do it. Let's not act like they haven't done this.
So you're saying that they're waiting to week 5 so they could introduce Russell Wilson on national television as their starting quarterback?
I think that there's a possibility that's why they left that open. They left that possibility open for that to happen. I think there's a chance. Mike Tomlin does crazy, methodical things all the time that make no sense, but make a lot of sense. Look at the end of the day, man.
I can't give you all the ingredients to the hot dog. You might not like it.
That's what I'm saying. Mike Tomlin knows what he's doing. It's football season, and we've teamed up with DraftKings. Right now, you can get involved in even more action with DraftKings Pick6, a brand new way to play daily fantasy sports. And the best part, all new customers who play $5 will get $50 in Pick6 credits. All you have to do is download the DraftKings Pick6 app now. Sign up with our code ALLSTEELERS and get kicking. Only on DraftKings Pick6, the crown is yours. Getting started is simple. Just download the DraftKings Pick6 app and sign up with our code ALLSTEELERS. From there, just pick at least 2 players and choose if they'll have more or less of a stat. Lock them in and compete against others for a shot at a huge cash prize. Download the DraftKings Pick6 app now and sign up with our code ALLSTEELERS only on DraftKings Pick6. The crown is yours.